Part 79. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 781. Gau's Hixing did not really let the counselor who had just encouraged him to enter the secret realm to negotiate with Wang Feng. Although that would mean that the counselor would never come back, they would also offend Wang Feng. Even if he could explain to Wang Feng that he had only borrowed a knife to kill someone, no matter which strong man he was, he would not be willing to be used as a knife, right? Therefore, Gau's Hixing planned to visit Wang Feng in person. Because he now knew exactly what Wang Feng wanted to do. However, Gau's Hixing did not plan to put forward his request immediately after meeting, but planned to ask Wang Feng if he needed any help first. They only had one space battleship now, and Gau's Hixing also saw the large group of people coming down from the Yanhuang. From the fact that there were people of all ages, Gau's Hixing understood that Wang Feng and his group might have some needs. After all, there was no department store on the space battleship, and the supplies needed by these men, women, and children would definitely not be few. Moreover, if Wang Feng could lead these people through the ancient secret realm, enter the ancient road, and return to the original star, then adding more people would obviously not be a problem. Gau's Hixing naturally didn't know, and Wang Feng himself had never entered the original secret realm, and he had no idea what was going on inside. And Wang Feng didn't plan to bring the old, weak, women, and children into the secret realm. The technology of the mother planet is indeed quite advanced, at least a few hundred years more advanced than Wang Feng's Atlantis. After Gau's Hixing gave the order, a plane quickly arrived at the top of the building, and then took off with Gau's Hixing. Maybe this plane is not as good as the small fighter plane that Wang Feng drove at the beginning, but it is also an aircraft that can complete vertical takeoff and landing without relying on propellers. When the plane carrying Gau's Hixing arrived at the entrance of the ancient secret realm, Wang Feng and his men still did not leave, and were still discussing around the entrance of the ancient secret realm. The entrance to the ancient secret realm has naturally been restored to its original state, that is, the big circle that looks a bit weird. But through the situation just now, everyone already knows that this strange big circle is probably not simple. At this time, Wang Feng was also explaining the real function of this big circle to Lu Wanting, Mengfei, Daiguo, Huang Hua and others. When they heard about the ancient secret realm, everyone was stunned. Although they knew that they were going to the original star, the birthplace of the human race. But none of them thought that they would be able to reach the original star in this way. At this time, Gau's Hixing arrived, and with him came Li Kai, the first congressman to receive Wang Feng and others. After Gau's Hixing got off the plane, he did not rush to see Wang Feng directly, but asked Li Kai to talk to Wang Feng first, saying that the Supreme Speaker wanted to see him. It can be said that Gau's Hixing is now in front of Wang Feng, with a very low attitude. This old fox had already understood the gap between the two sides, although the Yanhuang had not really shown its power. And among Wang Feng and his group, only Wang Sha, the child, had taken action. But years of experience made Gau's Hixing understand that if Wang Feng wanted to, it would not be a problem to destroy their home planet. The reason is very simple. Wang Feng had told him before that if the Space Ghost wanted to destroy their home planet, the salvo of 2 space battleships could easily do it. And Wang Feng said that they had encountered the Space Ghost and destroyed 2 fleets of the Space Ghost. Fleet. It is definitely not the same unit as a battleship. Moreover, Gau's Hixing had also watched the video of the Space Ghost destroying the home star system. He knew that the tens of thousands of space battleships were only the number of battleships of the 2 space fleets of the Space Ghost. In other words, when Wang Feng and his group fought against the Space Ghost, they only destroyed a few thousand or tens of thousands of Space Ghost battleships. Their own planet could not withstand 2 warships of the Space Ghost, while Wang Feng and his men could kill thousands of them. With such a power conversion, I am afraid that even a primary school student can calculate how much their strength is different from that of Wang Feng and his men. Gauss Hicksing did not doubt that Wang Feng was lying. If an old fox who had seen countless people could not even tell whether a person was telling the truth or a lie, it would be impossible for him to sit in this position for decades. Therefore, Gauss Hicksing had already made up his mind that he would never offend Wang Feng, and he would not even offend those who came to the mother planet with Wang Feng. Now, even if Wang Feng told him that he wanted to sit in his position, he would give it up without hesitation. It must be said that this old fox was indeed quite shrewd in this aspect of dealing with people, and his shrewdness did bring him benefits. At least, Wang Feng was very satisfied with his humble attitude this time. Although the two sides were not so friendly when they met for the first time. Although they were polite when they parted, killing someone in front of him was not friendly at all. Fortunately, Gauss Hicksing changed his attitude immediately after seeing Wang Sha's strength. Therefore, Wang Feng was not prepared to continue to cause trouble for him. And now, when Gauss Hicksing came to find him, he still remembered to let Li Kai, who was barely familiar with him, come to ask him first, and he used the word seek to see. As the saying goes, return a favor. Since Gauss Hicksing has already shown this attitude, Wang Feng will naturally not continue to give him a cold face. Wang Feng did not pretend to let Gauss Hicksing come to see him, but looked at Gauss Hicksing in the distance, and flew directly from the air to Gauss Hicksing. This move immediately scared the human race on the mother planet. Gauss Hicksing patted his chest and secretly thought that he was wise. I said, even that child is so cruel, how could their leader be worse? Fortunately, there was no conflict with them, otherwise, now he would definitely be a corpse like those guards. Mr. Speaker. What do you want to see me for? Wang Feng slowly landed and smiled at Gauss Hicksing. Flying over here, Wang Feng didn't mean to show off, but to show his strength and shock the human race on the mother planet. Because he wanted to establish a country on the mother planet, and to prevent the survivors of Atlantis who stayed on the mother planet from being bullied in the future, Wang Feng did this. In fact, according to the strength of this planet, even an old man in the Hope Base can definitely be the #1 master on this planet. But after all, they have no combat experience, and the mother planet's technology is so advanced, and the weapons must be very sophisticated. If they really rely on long-range weapons or warships to attack them, it will be a very troublesome thing. Haha. You left in a hurry just now, and I haven't asked your name yet. Gauss Hicksing smiled at Wang Feng. My name is Wang Feng. Mr. Speaker, just call me crazy. Don't dare. I'll still call you Mr. Wang. As for Mr. Wang, you don't have to call me Mr. Speaker, just call me Lao Gao. Anyway, I am indeed an old guy. Gauss Hicksing laughed. Oh. Wang Feng looked at Gauss Hicksing seriously after hearing what he said, and then laughed. Ha ha ha. I see that the mother planet is now well organized. I believe that the speaker has made great contributions. In this case, I will give the speaker a gift, which can be regarded as a thank you to the speaker on behalf of the human race. As soon as the voice fell, Wang Feng slapped Gauss Hicksing on the chest. Fortunately, Gauss Hicksing came here this time without anyone except Li Kai, so he didn't even have a guard around him at this time. Otherwise, Wang Feng's action might cause misunderstanding with the guard. Gauss Hicksing didn't have any misunderstanding, because he knew that if Wang Feng wanted to kill him, he couldn't escape anyway. Therefore, when Wang Feng slapped his chest, he not only didn't dodge, but he didn't even hide the smile on his face. When Wang Feng waved his palm just now, he also slowed down a little. He also wanted to see what kind of reaction Gauss Hicksing would have. As a result, Gauss Hicksing's reaction made Wang Feng very satisfied. Although he also knew that Gauss Hicksing's trust in him might be fake. But Wang Feng didn't mind. As long as he had the strength, Gauss Hicksing would keep pretending. No matter whether a person is pretending to be nice to you or not, as long as he keeps pretending, what's the difference between it and the real thing? Wang Feng put his palm on Gao Hixing's chest and immediately began to absorb the source of power in his body. Now Wang Feng has completely merged with Xian Yuan's sword, so he only needs to touch other people's bodies with his hands. After absorbing all the source of power, Wang Feng transferred the life energy in his body to Gao Hixing's body. This effect is the same as the strengthening potion and evolution potion made by Tiankai before. It's just that now there is no spirit of the weapon, so Wang Feng can't make potions. What made Wang Feng particularly depressed was that he never knew that when Tiankai was making those potions, the potions were transformed from life energy. But can anyone tell me what happened to the glass bottles used to hold the potions? Tiankai made tens of millions of potions, and Wang Feng never knew where those tens of millions of bottles came from. Now that Tiankai's spirit has disappeared, there is no way to ask, and this question has become a mystery that Wang Feng can never solve. After a while, Wang Feng felt that it was almost done, so he withdrew his palm and looked at Gao Hixing. Mr. Speaker. How do you feel? Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 782. When Wang Feng retracted his palm, Gao Hixing looked down at his body. Although he couldn't see his face, after Wang Feng's palm just now, although Gao Hixing didn't know what Wang Feng had done, at least he could feel that his body was now full of power. Just now, Wang Feng directly used life energy to directly upgrade Gao Hixing's strength to a second-order evolver. In this way, not only his lifespan was also increased. Gao Hixing's strength is absolutely unrivaled among the humans on his home planet. Because Gao Hixing's performance made Wang Feng very satisfied, Wang Feng felt that it would be beneficial to him to have such a person as the top member on his home planet. Thank you, Mr. Wang. Gao Hixing bowed deeply to Wang Feng. Now, Gao Hixing is completely convinced by Wang Feng. Apart from anything else, although Gao Hixing has not tried his own skills yet, he has a feeling that he can easily take down 180 of his own guards now. Therefore, in the eyes of Gao Hixing now, Wang Feng is basically a godlike existence. You're welcome, Speaker. It's just a little effort. Wang Feng said calmly. Mr. Wang, please don't call me the Speaker again. Gao Hixing cannot bear the responsibility. If Mr. Wang doesn't mind, just call me Lao Gao. Gao Hixing said sincerely. Before, he told Wang Feng to call him Lao Gao, and then he said without any trace that he was already old. He just thought that maybe Wang Feng would help him extend his life on a whim. Unexpectedly, not only has his lifespan been extended, but his strength has also suddenly skyrocketed. Feeling the vitality in his body, Gao Hixing is now in a very happy mood. Even if Wang Feng asks him to abdicate in favor of someone else, he will definitely agree immediately and willingly. But Wang Feng is not here, and of course he will not make this request. Okay. Then I'm welcome. Wang Feng nodded and said. Lao Gao. You must have seen the situation here. To be honest, I came here just to find this. I see. Gao Hixing nodded repeatedly. I also thought that Mr. Wang came to the home planet this time to find the entrance to this ancient ruins, but I didn't expect that Mr. Wang could actually activate the entrance to this ancient ruins that had been silent for 20,000 years. It seems that Mr. Wang will definitely be able to enter the original star through the ancient road. Assholes. A bunch of idiots. Bastards. Trash. Pig-like asses. After hearing Gao Hixing's words, before Wang Feng had time to reply, he heard Dong Huang Tai getting angry, and a string of curses continued to reach Wang Feng. Senior Dong Huang. Wang Feng was stunned. It seemed that he had never seen such a big temper after meeting Dong Huang Tai. Especially Wang Feng seemed to have never heard Dong Huang Tai say dirty words. This remark, which is like a scolding by a shrew, was really said by Dong Huang Tai, who never spoke in a sullen manner, half sentences and half sentences hidden. What's wrong with you? Because Dong Huangtai got angry, Wang Feng's tone became polite, and he used the word you to Dong Huangtai for the first time. What's wrong? These damn idiots. Forget about the entrance to the ancient secret realm, but the ancient road and the primitive star are the biggest secrets of our human race. What did those idiots do that everyone knows about? Is there anything wrong with this? Anyway, the people on this planet are all humans, and the news cannot be spread outside. It seems that no one of them has left this planet. Wang Fengdao. That won't work either. Dong Huangtai was still angry. Boy. Ask this guy how he knows about the original star. Because Wang Feng was talking to Dong Huangtai, he ignored Gao's hicksing in front of him, and now Wang Feng looked like he was in a daze. Gao's hicksing looked at Wang Feng and felt a little strange. After waiting for a while, he finally couldn't help but shouted softly. Mr. Wang. Ah! At this moment, Wang Feng ended his conversation with Dong Huangtai and quickly came back to his senses. Oh! I'm just wondering, how do you know about the original star? Ah! This. Gao's hicksing did not hide anything and replied happily. This is not a secret. It is recorded in the historical data of our human race. Mr. Wang can check it directly using the computer I gave you. What an idiot. Dong Huangtai cursed again. Wang Feng ignored him and said directly to Gao's hicksing. Old Gao. You guessed it right. The ultimate goal of my trip is the original star. This is the mission given to me by Fuxi. Because Dong Huangtai Wang Feng couldn't easily tell him, he simply pushed Fuxi out to take the blame, since he was no longer here anyway. Really? Gao's hicksing's eyes suddenly became eager. Mr. Wang, I know this may be very abrupt, but, can I go in with you? Wang Feng was stunned for a moment, then turned around and looked at the entrance to the ancient secret realm, then looked back at Gao's hicksing, and thought for a moment. Theoretically, I don't object to you going in, but you should wait until I tell you everything about the ancient secret realm before you make a decision. Okay. No problem. Gao's hicksing nodded excitedly, then looked at Wang Feng eagerly, waiting for him to continue. Now is not the time. Wang Feng smiled. The situation is a bit complicated. We can't just stand outside and say it. Besides, I have something else that I want to trouble you with, Lao Gao. Just say it. I will definitely do it. Gao's hicksing agreed without even thinking about it, without even asking what it was about. Anyway, if Wang Feng wants him to be the supreme speaker, he won't hesitate at all. So what other things can he not agree to? Gao's hicksing's happiness also made Wang Feng slightly stunned, but Wang Feng immediately smiled and said. That's right. As I said before, I still have to wait for some of my companions to gather here. Before, we were separated due to some accidents while fighting the cosmic ghost. However, they will come here to join us soon. This period of time is about a year, and after they arrive, when we enter the ancient secret realm, I do not plan to bring everyone in. As for the reason, you will know when I tell you about the ancient secret realm. So, I plan to build a country on this continent. In other words, I want this continent. Wang Feng gestured to the continent he was on and said, then looked at Gao's hicksing. No problem. I'll arrange it right away. Gao's hicksing took out a phone and was about to dial when he looked at Wang Feng. Mr. Wang, I wonder, do you need the population on this continent? If you need it, I will stay. If you don't need it, I will move it away. Mr. Wang, don't worry. If you need more people, feel free to stay. You can kill or beat us. We will never interfere. We don't want people anymore. We just want this continent. Wang Feng said with a smile, the people on this continent don't know what to do, so it's better to clear them out first. If there is a shortage of people in the future, let them absorb immigrants on their own. Okay. I understand. Gauss Hicksing nodded, and then made a phone call in front of Wang Feng. Hello? I'm Gauss Hicksing. Yes. You should immediately organize your personnel to clear the Australian continent. All personnel should leave. No one will be left behind. What? Explanation. Tell them that mysterious radiation has been found here, which may cause biochemical reactions. If you don't want to leave, just stay here and wait to die. Hearing Gauss Hicksing's explanation, Wang Feng was shocked. After hanging up the phone, Gauss Hicksing couldn't help but laugh when he saw Wang Feng's expression. Mr. Wang, you don't understand the sentiments of our people here. If you say the government needs it, then those people who need to relocate will not only sit on the ground and raise the price, but they will also try their best to delay the time. The internet here is very developed, and they will exaggerate even the smallest things, so, in order to save time, I have to say this. Just in time, you just activated the exit of the ancient secret realm. These civilians don't know what it is, so they can also deal with the radiation I mentioned. Ah! Didn't you mean? Wang Feng was even more strange. This ancient secret realm is not a big secret. Can I find it using the computer you gave me? Ha 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 ha. Gauss Hicksing was obviously in a good mood because his strength had improved and he was full of energy. He laughed and said, "That's because your computer is my personal computer and has the highest permissions on the internet. As for ordinary civilians, they can't find information in this area at all. Not to mention searching for information, even if they send some words or videos, they are often restricted. Then, I want to establish a country here. How will you explain it to those who have moved away from this continent?" Wang Feng continued to ask, when it comes to politics, Wang Feng is still a complete rookie in this aspect. He is not on the same level as Gauss Hicksing at all. Haha. This is easier. Gauss Hicksing smiled and said, "You just arrived on our planet in a battleship. Our home planet is now basically known to all women and children. And your origins are, of course, the ancient human race. So, of course you destroyed the source of radiation. To thank you, we give this continent to you. Without you, radiation will spread all over the world. For the heroes who saved our planet, getting a continent is not too much, right? In this way, not only is it legitimate for you to get this continent, but those guys who moved away from here don't dare to stab them, otherwise, public opinion will directly curse him to death." Upon hearing this explanation, Wang Feng was stunned. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 783. After a long pause, Wang Feng finally reacted and shook his head. It seemed that he was not cut out for politics. It was only after Gauss Hicksing came here that he proposed to him that he wanted this continent, but this guy didn't even have to think about it and came up with such a perfect plan. This brain is really unique. Haha. You really are. Wang Feng shook his head and said. If it were me, I don't know what to do. Haha. A strong man like you doesn't need my approach at all. Gauss Hicksing laughed. In fact, if you want this continent, not only will I not offend my people, but I will also gain some prestige among them. Even the people of this continent will be grateful to you and me. You discovered the radiation source and saved their lives, and I transferred their people and arranged accommodation for them. If I wasn't afraid that you would be short of population in the future and would have to recruit some people from other continents, I could even say that you decided to live here and guard here to prevent the recurrence of the radiation source. In that case, they will be even more grateful to you. Oh my! Wang Feng was shocked again. Can it be like this? Yeah. Gauss Hicksing nodded, then turned around and looked at the situation on the continent, and found that the residents of this continent had begun to transfer. So Gauss Hixing turned around, looked at Wang Feng and said, "I think, you are not very suitable for managing a country, so I can give you a suggestion." Wang Feng looked at Gauss Hixing. "You say, you can call the country you build whatever you want, but I think you'd better build an imperial country." Gauss Hixing looked at Wang Feng and said, "Although the federal system seems to be more democratic, this system will make the management personnel quite bloated. Most of the time, when the parliament is convened, it is a bunch of shitty people who pretend to know and argue with each other. In the end, it is me who has never listened to what they say, who makes the final decision. In other words, the so-called democracy and human rights are actually just for show. Except for waste of time, no use. For a strong man like you to establish a country, the best system is the imperial system. No need to argue, you have the final say. In this way, the government orders will be implemented, and there will be no conflicts among the top leaders, which will prevent the implementation of some orders that are obviously beneficial to the people's livelihood. The characteristics of the imperial system are that when a tyrant is in power, the national strength will be greatly reduced, and when a wise monarch is in power, the country will be rich and the people will be strong. I don't think you are a tyrant, otherwise, you will leave anyway. Why do you care about these old, weak, women and children? You can just throw them to me. I don't dare to do anything to them because of your strength. And after a year, they will be able to integrate into the life here, and it is impossible for me to do anything to them. Why do you have to go to so much trouble to ask me for a continent to build a country? I can see that you are not a person who likes power, at least, you are not keen on this thing. Otherwise, I am afraid that I will have to give up this position to you." He he. Wang Feng couldn't help laughing. "I didn't expect that you know me so well after just the second time we met. No wonder you dress so strangely. So, you want to establish an imperial country. But, if you have this idea, I might be able to help you." "Forget it." Gauss Hixing shook his head. "In fact, I am not particularly keen on power. I just want to give humans a stable living environment, but the current system makes me feel a little restrained. Although my power has been, it is already very big, but in some things, I have to consider the interests of some families. That's why I said that the federal system has great shortcomings. You should just want to settle your people, which is much easier than me." "That's right. I just want to settle them before leaving. They have been with me for a long time and should get a perfect home." "Don't worry," Gauss Hixing said. "I didn't feel their strength before, but after you and I upgraded, I felt that everyone among them seemed to be no less than me, and even many people wanted to kill me in just a moment." Because he has become an evolver now, Gauss Hixing can also feel the fluctuations of life energy in other people's bodies. So, he has now naturally discovered the strength of everyone in the Hope Base. Based on the strength of these people, they can live well even without your help. "Not necessarily." Wang Feng shook his head. "With me, they will live well. Once I leave, they will be scattered to their home planet, which may not be a good thing. Having strength is a good thing, but having strength without self-control is a bad thing. It may become their death warrant. Because of their own strength, they do whatever they want, and eventually lose their nature and become murderous demons. I have seen many examples. So, I established the country not only to protect them, but also to make them always remember that they are still members of the Hope Base and cannot embarrass the Hope Base." Hearing Wang Feng's words, Gauss Hixing's expression changed. Wang Feng was right. If a powerful person has no binding force on him, he may become very scary. "Everyone, come here." Wang Feng turned around to greet Meng Fei and others. When Wang Feng called them, all the core members gathered together. However, because most of the core members were on the Hope, there were only 30 or 40 people here. Everyone. This continent is ours now. Wang Feng said straight to the point. I am going to rebuild the Hope base on this continent. However, because this is the home planet, there are many countries besides us. So, I decided, let's just build a country. After hearing Wang Feng's words, everyone was just slightly stunned, and then returned to normal. After Gauss Hixing heard Wang Feng's words, he turned around and prepared to leave, because this was a meeting of their Hope base, and he was an outsider after all. Lao Gao! Don't leave! Wang Feng shouted. I just want you to give me some advice. Why did you run away? Afterwards, Wang Feng looked at everyone and said. You have all met Lao Gao. He is the Supreme Speaker of the Free Federation of the Home Planet. The Home Planet is similar to Atlantis and has many countries. And this Free Federation means something similar to the United Nations, and the Supreme Speaker is equivalent to the Secretary General of the United Nations. However, the power of this Free Federation is much greater than that of the United Nations. Not only can it interfere in the internal affairs of other countries, it can even directly replace the leader of that country. Therefore, it would not be an exaggeration to say that before Wang Feng and the others came, Gauss Hixing was the actual person in charge of the home planet. Just by looking at his previous phone call, which asked everyone on the Australian continent to move to other continents, you can know how much power this federation has on its home planet. This is also a tradition left by the ancient human race. The original parliament was even able to drive giants like Pangu and Fuxi out of their home planet. If such a parliament continues, it will naturally make Gauss Hixing what he is today. Especially now that Gauss Hixing's strength has improved, his power will of course become more stable. Of course, if Wang Feng founded a country, Gauss Hixing would never be so thoughtful as to incorporate his country into the Free Federation. After introducing Gauss Hixing, Wang Feng told others what Gauss Hixing had just said, and then prepared to ask Meng Fei and the others to discuss the details of the country he was about to establish with Gauss Hixing. But it seemed a little inappropriate to think that everyone was outside, discussing such a serious matter. So Wang Feng simply called everyone into the Yanhuang ship, and began to discuss the matter in the Yanhuang ship's control hall. Lu Kai also benefited from the honor and entered the Yanhuang number. Wang Feng also absorbed the source of his power, and then upgraded him to the strength of a third-level enhancer. He is a congressman, and he is not as beautiful as Gauss Hixing, so having a third-level enhancer is enough for him. The interior of the Yanhuang battleship did not surprise Gauss Hixing, but this fact made Wang Feng a little strange, so he naturally asked. When Wang Feng heard that there was a space battleship left by the ancient human race on his home planet, he couldn't help but be excited. But when he thought about it, he was the only one who could pilot this kind of warship, and he couldn't help but be disappointed. Looking at the size of the ancient secret realm door, you can tell that it is impossible for a warship to enter it, and even a small fighter plane will have difficulty entering it. And even if it's just a small fighter plane, it's useless even if it goes in. However, Wang Feng plans to install a few small fighters in Xianyuan space and keep them for himself as a backup. After leaving the matter of founding the country to Meng Fei and the others, Wang Feng stopped paying attention. What he is depressed about now is Duan Lei's absence. Otherwise, that guy should have done these things. Fortunately, Meng Fei is also here. Wang Feng has already thought about it. After the country is established, Meng Fei will be the emperor. Wang Feng couldn't help but laugh when he thought of Meng Fei wearing the same robe as Gauss Hixing, wearing a crown and holding a scepter. But this time, Meng Fei and the others actually discussed in the control hall all night. It was not until early the next morning that Meng Fei came to Wang Feng with a tablet computer. Madman! This is the national constitution we formulated and the preliminary personnel arrangements. Take a look at it first. If you have no doubts, just follow this. Wang Feng took it and the first thing he saw was the emperor's name. However, this name was not Wang Feng. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 784. No. Who chose this emperor? Wang Feng asked with his eyes wide open. What? Are you going to be the emperor? Mengfei shrugged his shoulders and said indifferently. I certainly won't be the emperor, but, who came up with this bad idea? Let Tingting be the emperor. Wang Feng said angrily. That's right, on the tablet, the name of Lu Wanting was written behind the emperor. Ha ha ha. Mengfei laughed wildly. Crazy. You're not afraid that Tingting will take a concubine, are you? Get lost. Wang Feng said angrily. Tingting can't do it. I still have to take her to travel around the mountains and rivers. I finally have a vacation of nearly a year. You guys still want to use this to hold Tingting back. It's okay if Tingting is not the emperor, then you can do it yourself. Mengfei said with a sly smile. Okay. I'll do it. Wang Feng agreed immediately, and then began to click on the tablet a few times. That won't work. If you don't, what? Mengfei stared at Wang Feng. You agreed. I agreed. Wang Feng said. I am the first emperor, but because of the busy trivial matters, I can't take care of political affairs, so I pass the throne to Mengfei. Then, Wang Feng curled his lips, threw the tablet to Mengfei, and walked away. Mengfei held the tablet, looked at his name behind the emperor, and wanted to cry but had no tears. After a night, the entire Australian continent is now deserted. It must be said that Gauss Hixing is really a good guy. Under the threat of the radiation source he fabricated, the residents of the Australian continent really ran faster than rabbits. Now on the Australian continent, except for some aftermath personnel, there is no civilian stranded. Wang Feng looked at the empty continent and clicked on the tablet Gauss Hixing gave him. The news inside was overwhelmingly about the radiation source of the Australian continent. I don't know what Gauss Hixing said. That night, he stayed in the Yanhuang and didn't pay any attention to the radiation source. But now it seems that someone has already handled this perfectly. In the news about the radiation source, this radiation source was described as quite scary, and even linked to the cosmic ghost. On the mother planet, anything related to the cosmic ghost is something that makes people shudder. This radiation source is said to be accidentally left by the cosmic ghost when the mother planet was transferred. Fortunately, when it broke out, Wang Feng and his team appeared, and they were later described as rushing to save the human race on the mother planet because they knew about this radiation source. If they hadn't appeared in time, this radiation source would have swept the world, and at that time, there would be a large-scale outbreak of plague and biochemical invasion. Moreover, the video of Wang Feng opening the entrance to the ancient secret realm was constantly played, and the process of Wang Feng opening the entrance to the ancient secret realm in the experiment was naturally said to be the explosion of the radiation source. Of course, this time the radiation source only exploded for about a minute before it was stopped by Wang Feng. And now Wang Feng's space battleship is still staying above the radiation source, naturally because they are thinking of a way to completely solve this disaster. After reading these news, Wang Feng couldn't help but shake his head. While he disagreed in his heart, he was also secretly shocked by the powerful public opinion. It seems that Gauss Hixing is not only smart himself, but also has a very strong team. He just said it, and there was no instruction on the specific method. His team already knew how to operate. However, although he was a little envious, Wang Feng definitely didn't need such a team. And it seems that Wang Feng doesn't have to worry about this matter anymore. So, Wang Feng drove the Yanhuang directly to the largest city on the Australian continent. Since the humans in the city retreated in a hurry, the city looked relatively clean. Even the goods in the shopping malls were still there. Wang Feng smiled lightly. He knew that this should be done intentionally by Gau's Hixing. He just had to tell those people that he would make up for the losses and let them evacuate quickly for safety. In this way, he not only got the gratitude of the people, but also sold himself a good deal. And all he paid was just one sentence. As for the compensation, of course, it will be borne by the federal government. With such a people-oriented supreme speaker, could this guy get so many people's support? After hovering the Yanhuang, lower the lift and release all the survivors in the Yanhuang. The allocation of personnel areas, these things naturally don't need Wang Feng to worry about. The survivors who had been in the Yanhuang for a long time cheered and jumped, entered the city, and arranged their new homes according to their respective assigned areas. After so many years of getting along, although there are tens of millions of survivors, almost everyone knows each other. Even if they don't know each other's names, at least they look familiar. No one is fighting for the remains of those people. After living together for a long time and eating from the same pot, the survivors of the Hope Base basically have no selfishness. Moreover, Wang Feng has already made a plan in his mind. The country he established will still not use currency, but continue the previous points system. Of course, this points system will be changed, but the details will be handled by Meng Fei and others. According to Wang Feng, he is a rough man. Not suitable for these delicate things. Everyone knows that this is Wang Feng's way of evading responsibility, but this guy is used to being a hands-off boss, and others can't do anything about it. Moreover, others also know that Wang Feng has hardly had a real rest since the establishment of the Hope Base, so no one will really care about his laziness. After a week of rest on the Australian continent, Wang Feng and his Hope Empire was finally officially established. There were some differences in the name of the empire. Some people thought it should be called the Atlantis Empire to commemorate their home planet. Some people think that it can be called the Yanhuang Empire because without the Yanhuang, they would not have been able to come to the mother planet. Some people even said that it should be called the Wang Empire, but before they could say the reason, they were slapped by Wang Feng. In the end, it was Wang Feng who made the final decision and called it the Hope Empire. On the day when the Hope Empire was founded, not only the members of the Free Federation Parliament came here, but also the heads of other countries. Moreover, the grand ceremony of the founding of the country was not broadcast live, and Gau's Hixing even ordered that the video of the founding of the Hope Empire was strictly prohibited from being circulated. The reason for this is naturally because the radiation source incident on the Australian continent has not been completely resolved. After all, it has only been a week. If the problem is solved in such a short time, it can only mean that this incident is not serious. Gau's Hixing has already mastered this aspect. And Wang Feng naturally doesn't care about these. As long as the heads of these countries and the members of the Free Federation Parliament know that their country has been established and recognize its existence, that's enough. At the founding ceremony, Meng Fei must let Wang Feng speak, otherwise he would not be the emperor and give up the throne to others. As soon as Meng Fei said this, the other core members immediately hid far away, fearing that Meng Fei would not be able to think straight and pass the throne to himself. Seeing this situation, the heads of other countries and members of the Free Federal Parliament were speechless. This is the king of a country, not a shitpot. What are you hiding for? Don't want to be my king. However, they just think about this kind of words, no one dares to say it out loud. If he really says it, his end will definitely be more miserable than being accused of a shitpot. Wang Feng had no choice but to walk onto the podium. Looking at the dark crowd below, Wang Feng's mood was very complicated. They had experienced too much along the way. However, seeing the scene today, Wang Feng felt that all their hard work and sacrifices were not in vain. Everyone. Wang Feng spoke slowly, and the crowd below suddenly became silent. Today, we have our own home again. We had a debate when deciding the name of our country. In the end, I decided to use our original name, hope. Because, we have been able to come all the way to now, and it is these two words that support us. We have experienced many difficulties and desperate situations, and we even thought that we might die soon. But we still come to this point, because we have hope in our hearts, and we know that we will have a future. As long as there is hope, our steps will not stop. As long as there is hope, we will never give up. As long as there is hope, we will never fall down. Even if one of us falls down, others will continue to hold up his hope and move forward. At this point, Wang Feng looked around and finally chose a square. He flew directly into the air, and then stopped in the center of the square. Boom boom boom. Wang Feng raised the Xianyuan sword and slashed the ground fiercely, leaving a large deep pit. Then, he waved his hand. Bang! With a loud bang that shook the earth, a huge stone tablet stood firmly in front of everyone. Military Soul Tablet. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 785. When this towering stone tablet appeared, Gauss Hixing and his companions were surprised to find that all the citizens of the Hope Empire present turned around and faced the stone tablet. Then, under the leadership of Wang Feng, all the people, regardless of gender, age, stood up straight and saluted the tall stone tablet. This salute lasted for 10 minutes. Then, they all put down their arms and turned to face the rostrum. When these people turned around again, the people of the mother planet watching the ceremony on the rostrum suddenly felt that the temperament of these people seemed to have changed. They couldn't tell what had changed, but at least, they saw determination and unyielding in the eyes of these people. Wang Feng flew back to the rostrum from the air. This action naturally shocked Xian's Haihong, who had never seen Wang Feng before. The heads of these countries secretly decided that after returning, they must inform the whole country that no one should provoke the citizens of the Hope Empire. A country with such a strong man must not be provoked, and good relations must be maintained, otherwise, the disaster of national destruction is imminent. Fortunately, Wang Feng does not seem to be an unreasonable person. As the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. If Wang Feng is like this, then the people around him should not be too excessive. Everyone. Now I declare that the Empire of Hope is officially established today. From now on, this day of every year will become our national day. All people across the country must come to the Military Soul Monument to pay tribute to our warriors. After Wang Feng stood on the podium again, he loudly announced the establishment of the Empire of Hope, and added a national day. Because, without these warriors, we would not be where we are today. Every one of us who can stand here is their credit. I don't want anyone to forget them. Remember, you survived not because you were lucky or strong, but because, by your side, there are countless comrades fighting with you. They only give, but no reward. All we can do is remember them forever. There is one more thing you should remember. Maybe some of you have discovered that the humans on the mother planet are different from us in Atlantis when we did not experience the apocalyptic sky fire. So, in terms of strength, you are much stronger than the humans on this planet. Especially, you have all experienced the darkest time in your life, and you all have some combat experience, more or less. But, I absolutely do not want you to rely on your own strength to plunder and hurt others at will. The people of Hope Empire will never take the initiative to cause trouble, but we will never be afraid of trouble. I just don't want others to be terrified when mentioning Hope Empire. I will now announce the first national policy of Hope Empire, the territory of Hope Empire, never expand. Who dares to violate it, if I am still alive, I will kill him myself, and if I die, you help me kill him. As for the others, I won't say it. In short, I don't want any of you to discredit Hope Empire. Wang Feng's following words, especially the first national policy of Hope Empire, the territory of Hope Empire will never expand. This is considered to be a reassurance to the heads of other countries. According to the strength of the Hope Empire, it is not difficult for them to unify the mother planet, let alone annex that country. But now Wang Feng directly expressed his position in front of his own citizens, members of the Free Federation Parliament and these heads of state, which means Wang Feng is sincere. The Hope Empire, at least in the hands of this generation and the next generation, will definitely not expand. As for whether it will happen in the future, it has nothing to do with these guys who came to watch the ceremony this time, because they can't live that long. After half a day, the founding ceremony of the Hope Empire was finally over. And the gifts sent by the heads of state of various countries were also shipped to the Australian continent. Because Gauss Hicksing had already made a call, all the gifts were some daily necessities. Food, drinking water, bedding, pots and pans, etc. are all available, and there are even a lot of diapers and condoms. For these things, Wang Feng naturally accepted them all, and they just happened to be what they urgently needed now. However, in return, Wang Feng also improved the strength of all the members who came to watch the ceremony. Of course, all of them were only upgraded to the level of third-level enhancers. Even so, these people were quite excited, so everyone was happy. After another week, everything in the Hope Empire was finally on track. In fact, it is called an empire, but whether it is the management personnel or the management mode, it is similar to the previous Hope base. At first, Wang Feng wanted Nicholas and Augustine to separate. Because there are 4 large cities in the Australian continent, but they are only using one now, and the other 3 are still empty. If those cities are not inhabited for a long time, they may be abandoned. So Wang Feng suggested that the survivors of the North Continent and the West Continent each occupy a city. As for management, it is natural for them to manage it by their own people. Nicholas, Liana, and Oscar are the people who manage Zizhu Continent. Augustine and Inovik are the people who manage the North Continent. Nicholas and others had no objection to Wang Feng's opinion, while Meng Fei seemed to frown, but didn't say anything in the end. It was Augustine who raised the objection. This is what he said. Feng. I know what you mean, and I know your trust in us. Thank you. But this approach is not a good idea. Believe me. Although we are close now, it is only limited to our generation. What about our next generation? Even though our bodies have been strengthened, we may live longer than others. But we will still die after all. Especially, some of us are going to the original star soon. We should indeed occupy other cities, but we should not distribute them like this. If the distribution is like this, I bet that our Hope Empire may be divided within 3 generations. My suggestion is that we do not differentiate between races, nor do we differentiate between Bizhu continent, Dongzhou continent, or Zizhu continent. We should mix all the people together and even marry across races. Only in this way can our Empire of Hope be truly united and passed down forever. Augustine is right. Meng Fei stood up at this time and said, Actually, I thought of this when the madman first mentioned this matter, but I have another suggestion. We hope that the empire will have a king who will never fall. In this way, we hope that the empire will be stable forever. After hearing Meng Fei's words, everyone present focused their attention on one person, number 7. Of course it's number 7. Among these people, only number 7 is the one who will never die. At least, his lifespan is unlimited. As long as the ghost of the universe does not attack, he will definitely not die. Logically speaking, if he were to be the emperor, it would be quite suitable. But Wang Feng shook his head. He knew that number 7 would not agree. Because he was going to find Li Yingning, and Li Yingning. All in all, star of the originals, 7 is definitely going to participate. Forget it. No 7 is the devourer. He will be in charge of humans. Over time, trouble will inevitably arise. Wang Feng didn't need number 7 to speak and took the initiative to speak for him. If no one else knows, Forget it, but now I basically hope that no one in the base knows the identity of No 7. It may be okay in the short term, but, after we leave, if someone is interested in making a fuss about this, it is likely that trouble will occur. Number 7 looked at Wang Feng. He knew that Wang Feng was trying to save him. Besides, as a devourer, Number 7 had no interest in this emperor at all. After hearing what Wang Feng said, Meng Fei and others lowered their heads and thought for a while, and found that it was indeed reasonable, so they stopped insisting. Okay. It's almost stable now. Anyway, I know nothing about national management, so you can figure it out yourself. Wang Feng took a deep breath and said. Lao Mang. You will be responsible for allocating personnel to other cities. Augustine, please assist Lao Mang. Among the people here now, except for Meng Fei, Augustine is more familiar with management. It's a pity that Lu Qiang is not here, otherwise, he could shoulder part of the burden. Madman. Leave it all to us. What about you? Meng Fei looked at Wang Feng with the look of a deeply resentful woman. Yeah. Me. Wang Feng lowered his head in deep thought, completely ignoring Meng Fei's eyes. Next, I'm going to take Ting Ting on her honeymoon and enjoy my vacation. Ha 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 ha. You singles, go ahead and envy me. With that said, Wang Feng left with a wild smile. This guy. Everyone present shook their heads together. Ting Ting. Wang Feng directly found Lu Wanting, who was chatting with Taxus. Ting Ting. Let's go. Why go? Lu Wanting was stunned. Honeymoon. Wang Feng smiled mysteriously. Liza will not arrive here for about a year, so this period of time is my vacation, and I am ready to accompany you. Lu Wanting was immediately happy, but she immediately restrained herself and whispered. Feng. There is something I want to discuss with you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 786. Hearing Lu Wanting's words, Wang Feng couldn't help but look at Taxus beside him. Tessis nodded and smiled at Wang Feng, but there was always a trace of melancholy and loneliness in his eyes. Wang Feng knew that since Apollo died together with the mutant elephants after the Devourer's attack, Tessis had always had hesitation in his eyes. Although these two people are the type of happy enemies, Tessis has basically never given Apollo a good look. But the relationship between the couple is quite deep. Every couple expresses their love in a slightly different way. But as long as there is love in our hearts, and we understand each other, trust each other, and understand each other, we can get to the end. Of course, this refers to peacetime and no unexpected situations. Unfortunately for them, they encountered this chaotic and dark era. Even now, it seems to be very safe on their home planet. But the shadow of the cosmic ghost still hangs over their hearts all the time. Seeing the melancholy in Taxus's eyes, Wang Feng didn't know how to speak to comfort her. Wang Feng even thought that compared with Taxus, Lu Wu, and Ximen Lianying, the lovers who died together in that war, seemed to be luckier. At least, they don't have to experience the pain of being separated forever. Ting Ting. Did you mean, the three of us went out to relax together? Wang Feng looked at Taxus and understood Lu Wanting's intentions, so he smiled and said. Okay. With Tessis here, at least we don't have to worry about being cheated. Forget it. I won't join in the fun with you, so as not to be a light bulb for you. Tessis chuckled and shook his head. I want to go out and relax by myself. Go to other continents. Tess, it's okay, just follow us, Wang Feng also tried to continue to persuade Taxus, but was blocked by Lu Wanting. Forget it. Feng. Let Tessis go and relax by himself. Anyway, on the home planet, no one can bully Tessies. Wang Feng blinked, a little confused, but since Lu Wanting said it, he couldn't insist anymore. Tessie stood up, looked at Lu Wanting and Wang Feng, and smiled again. Then I won't disturb you. Have a good time on your honeymoon. Then, Tessies walked away. Watching Texas's back gradually go away, Wang Feng looked at Lu Wanting. Ting ting. What did you just do? Of course Wang Feng knew that Lu Wanting would never agree to let Tessies relax on his own because he was afraid that Taizi would disturb their world. But Wang Feng couldn't figure out the specific reason, so when he saw Texas leaving, he asked directly. Alas! Men will be men, slow to react. Lu Wanting rolled her eyes at Wang Feng, then looked at Texas's back sadly and said. Apollo has died in the battle, leaving Thesis alone. If I go to relax with her, she will still agree. After having you, she won't go. I just realized it, otherwise, I wouldn't have mentioned this just now. Seeing the two of us together only makes her miss Apollo even more, so of course she doesn't want to be with us. Forget it. Let her go on her own, maybe she will feel better. None of us can help her with this kind of thing. Only time, maybe she can gradually get over this blow. Wang Feng suddenly realized that Lu Wanting was right. Her boyfriend was dead, and she would naturally feel uncomfortable watching other people having sex all day long. Feng. Let's call Xiu and Su Mo, shall we? Lu Wanting suddenly suggested. Ever since Lu Wu died in battle and Ximen Lianying fell, Su Mo has been in a low mood. And I haven't been with Xiu for a long time. She's been with Su Mo all day now. Okay. Wang Feng nodded and said, Su Mo and Lu Wu, the two guys who were ready to rob them when they met, supported a small town with just a few people. Moreover, he actually protected so many elderly people, which added a valuable asset to the Hope base. When the Devourer army attacked, both Lu Wu and Ximen Lianying died in battle. When their bodies were found, everyone who saw them shed tears. Both of them have turned into mummies, looking extremely old, and their hands are all held together. However, judging from the postures of their hands, Lu Wu was holding Ximen Lianying's right hand tightly with both hands, while Ximen Lianying seemed to be trying to pry Lu Wu's hands away with his left hand, trying to break away from him. At the beginning of the period, everyone didn't know why, but after Duan Lei saw it, he couldn't help but look sad. Then, he restored the situation at the last moment of their lives. Ximen Lianying must have been caught by the Devourer and began to absorb its life force. And Lu Wu, when he saw Ximen Lianying's life passing by, he grabbed her hand and transferred the life energy in his body to Ximen Lianying, trying to use his own life force to make up for Ximen Lianying's death. What's lost? But Ximen Lianying refused to let Lu Wu do this, so he tried to pry Lu Wu's hands away, and in the end, the Devourer devoured them together. After Duan Lei analyzed the situation before their death, he once said something to everyone present, especially those in pairs. Everyone, the two of them are actually lucky, because at least they were able to see their lovers at the moment before they died. Some people's love is hidden deep in their hearts. Maybe they are not good at expressing it, but it doesn't mean that they don't care about you. This kind of person's love may only be seen by you at the moment of life and death. But, by that time, maybe, it's already a little late. So, try to cherish your lover, and don't let yourself hate yourself one day in the future. Wang Feng and Lu Wanting went directly to find Su Mo and Zhang Xiu. When they heard that they wanted to travel to their home planet together, Zhang Xiu did not agree directly, but looked at Su Mo eagerly, with the desire in his eyes clearly revealed. Seeing this scene, Wang Feng sighed in his heart, love does have some kind of magic power. Zhang Xiu, this crazy girl, was known as the Little Witch when she was at the Hope base. But look at her now, where is there any trace of the Little Witch? If he hadn't seen this pitiful look with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it would have appeared in Zhang Xiu's eyes. Looking into Zhang Xiu's eyes, Su Mo smiled and nodded. He knew that Zhang Xiu had already paid too much to comfort him, and now Su Mo had almost come out of Lu Wu's death. The deaths of brothers and comrades in arms should indeed be remembered forever, but they should not be sunk in it, otherwise, their sacrifices will become meaningless. Wang Feng and the others did not fly the fighter planes on the Yanhuang. Because they did not intend to reveal their identities, if Gau's Hixing knew that they were going to visit their home planet, it would probably make it known to the world. So this time Wang Feng and the others decided to hide their identities and just wander around the home planet like ordinary people on the home planet. They put on ordinary clothes on their home planet, then drove a speedboat and set off towards their first destination. Fortunately, Gau's Hixing had given them a large amount of currency from their home planet before, so they didn't have to worry about nearly 1,000 this time. After all, their points are useless in other countries on their home planet. Gau's Hixing also thought carefully. He knew that the Hope Empire basically had nothing now, so in addition to a large amount of living supplies, he also raised funds across the entire home planet in the name of the Free Federation. Because I heard that all this money was given to the Hope Empire, all the countries on the home planet donated generously. They had all witnessed the strength of the Hope Empire with their own eyes. A child could completely defeat their country's most elite warriors. If such a country makes him unhappy, it is definitely not a good thing. Therefore, when Gau's Hixing transferred the debt he raised to the Hope Empire's account, the Hope Empire had become the richest country on the home planet. Of course, Wang Feng did not receive these donations in vain. When Gau's Hixing sent the money, he also brought a detailed record of the amount of donations from each country. Wang Feng, based on these quotas, gave all the countries that contributed money a certain quota, allowing them to select their own personnel and send them to the Hope Empire to be strengthened. After getting this news, almost all heads of state regretted it. They wished they had spent more money. The first country Wang Feng and the others arrived in was called Phelan. It was a country ruled by a royal family. Because from the information, it is said that this country is a very romantic country and there are many luxury goods. Romance and luxury goods are very attractive to women, so Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu chose this place without hesitation. Regarding their choice, Wang Feng and Su Mo naturally had no choice but to accept it, and they had to show that it was just what they wanted. The speedboat soon docked at a port called Korea in the Phelan Kingdom. Because the speedboat they drove was not very luxurious, it did not attract too many people's attention. However, the two beauties Zhang Xiu and Lu Wanting made many men around them shine. Wang Feng glanced around casually, but suddenly frowned, because he saw a very burly man's eyes suddenly lit up when he saw Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu, and he cast a greedy look. That's the kind of look a hunter would have when he sees his prey. Then, this big man with an aquiline nose took out the phone, said something into it, and then hid it aside. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 787. Although he saw this scene, Wang Feng did not show any reaction, but just smiled calmly. They wanted to stroll around the mother planet as ordinary people, but if anyone really came to cause trouble, Wang Feng would not mind cleaning up some garbage. For the people on the mother planet, Wang Feng seemed to have no one he dared not to offend. So for this guy, Wang Feng chose to ignore him directly, so as not to disturb the mood of Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu. Since knowing Lu Wanting, this is the first time they have been on a honeymoon trip in a real human society, like lovers before the end of the world. Wang Feng did not want anyone to disturb him at this time. After entering this port city, Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu chattered in front of them, and the two big men had to follow them with a wry smile. The two beauties' appearance as if they were alone attracted the attention of many people, but fortunately, seeing that the two beauties were accompanied by men, no one came to take the initiative to chat with them. It seems that the rumor that Phelan is a country that pays more attention to gentlemanly manners is quite true. Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu kept shuttling between various shops, while Wang Feng, who was responsible for paying the bills, was full of large and small bags. Su Mo was of course not much better than him. If the two stood on the street without moving, the urban management would definitely come to expel them, thinking that they were selling things. Although Wang Feng had Xianyuan space, he was now on the mother planet, and it was not easy to put these things in public. So he could only walk on the street in the image of a mobile commodity display cabinet. However, the attitudes of the two men caused some beauties to send their eyes frequently, especially Wang Feng and Su Mo, who were both strong men, and their bodies were naturally quite eye-catching. Ting ting. Why don't we find a hotel to rest first and eat something by the way? Seeing that there was no place on his body to hang things, Wang Feng said helplessly. He planned to find a hotel, book 2 rooms first, and then put the things they bought into Xianyuan space. This was too troublesome. Crazy. In fact, we can rent a car. Su Mo suggested. However, at this time, Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu had heard Wang Feng's suggestion before, and their eyes lit up immediately. Yes. Eat food. It is said that the food in Phelan is quite famous, especially for people like them who have not eaten normal food for several years. Okay, okay. Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu said, jumping, with a little girl's look. I don't know how many men bumped into the electric pole because of looking at them. Coincidentally, there was a hotel that looked very luxurious not far from them, so the 4 of them walked directly to the hotel. For them, of course, they didn't have to consider the price of the hotel, so after entering the hotel, they didn't even ask the price, and Wang Feng directly opened 2 suites. After entering the room, Wang Feng used his consciousness to explore and found no cameras or anything like that. He shook his body and threw all the bags hanging on his body into Xianyuan space. As for Su Mo's, he would go to his room to collect them later. Maybe the couple is lingering now, so it's not good to disturb them. Well, of course, it is also possible that Wang Feng also has very important things to do. How can he not get some compensation after being a coolie for so long? Less than 2 hours later, Wang Feng and others appeared in the hotel restaurant. Looking at the exquisite menu, Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu ordered a large table of dishes in one breath, and then urged the waiter to serve the dishes quickly. While waiting, Wang Feng found that the hooked nose who had stared at them before also followed into the restaurant, and casually found a table in the corner to sit down, without ordering any dishes, and his eyes drifted to Wang Feng and others from time to time. At this time, even Su Mo noticed this guy. He looked at Wang Feng with an inquiring look, asking if he should warn that guy. Wang Feng shook his head gently. After all, that guy was just following them and didn't do anything out of line. When their purpose is really revealed, it won't be too late to deal with it. The hotel's serving speed is very fast. In just about 10 minutes, their table is full of dishes. Let's eat. Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu cheered, then grabbed their knives and forks and began to eat voraciously. They haven't sat in this kind of environment to eat for several years, and they have lived in the end of the world for so long, who would care about eating? The so-called etiquette only appears when life is not threatened and there are people around, because that thing is for people to see. As for some people who say that no matter what the juncture, you must stay calm and pay attention to your appearance to show your cultivation, go to your uncle. It's right to stay calm, but pay attention to your appearance. That depends on the situation. Don't believe me? I'll set your house on fire. If you're awesome, why don't you take a shower, blow dry your hair, put on a suit, tie, polish your shoes, and walk out slowly? I can't burn you to death. However, after all, we were in Phelan. The other diners in the restaurant couldn't help but shake their heads when they saw that 2 girls who could be regarded as extremely beautiful women actually looked more bold than the men. There were even many women who were envious and jealous of the 2 women because of their appearance, and they all looked at them with contempt. There was even a woman dressed as a lady, who directly called the waiter in the restaurant, pointed at Wang Feng's table, and said loudly, "Please drive these bumpkin out of here. The way they eat affects my dining mood." The waiter in the restaurant looked at Wang Feng's table with a confused look on his face. Because what Wang Feng and the others ordered at this table were all expensive dishes that ordinary people could never afford. Moreover, they looked ugly when eating, at least they didn't make any noise, and it couldn't be said to affect other people. "What's wrong with the ugly appearance? Is it okay if you don't watch it?" The waiter bowed deeply to the lady, and then said softly, "Sorry, madam, because this table of guests did not affect other people, I can't kick them out. They are also guests of our hotel and have the right to enjoy our services. Madam, please go back and continue dining." Crack. The lady slapped the waiter on the face. "I said they influenced me, they influenced me. How dare you, a waiter, question me? Call your manager over." Wang Feng and the others naturally saw the movement here, but Wang Feng did not move. He wanted to see how the hotel would solve this problem. Moreover, just before, 6 people also entered the restaurant, led by a young and handsome young man with blonde hair and blue eyes. After he came in, he exchanged glances with the aquiline nose who was monitoring Wang Feng and the others without leaving any trace. Later, when he saw Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu, strong desire shot out from his eyes. However, they did not go directly to Wang Feng's table. Instead, they sat down at the table next to them and ordered a dish. They also chose to stand by and watch what was happening now. At this time, the manager of the restaurant had also arrived. He looked at the waiter who was still smiling despite being slapped, and then looked at the lady and frowned involuntarily. "Manager Owen, you came just in time. How do you think this matter will be resolved?" The lady seemed to be a regular visitor here, and she actually knew the manager's name, so the villain immediately complained. "I was in your restaurant, and someone affected my dining mood. Your waiter, instead of kicking those bumpkins out, actually contradicted me. Humph. If you don't give me a perfect explanation for today's matter, I won't let it go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." The restaurant manager nodded quickly and bowed to the lady and said, "Mrs. Charlie, please rest assured, I will help you solve this matter immediately, and I will definitely satisfy you." Then, the restaurant manager first looked at the waiter and said with a majestic look, "Carl, how do you do things? Don't you know that Mrs. Charlie is a distinguished guest of our hotel? How dare you contradict her?" "Mr. Manager, I don't think I made a mistake. Those guests." The waiter Carl looked at the restaurant manager with a stubborn expression and explained. However, the restaurant manager didn't seem to be in the mood to listen to his explanation. He roared directly and interrupted the waiter Carl. "Shut up. I don't need to hear your explanation, you're fired." Carl was stunned for a moment, then clenched his fists, but without saying anything, he took off his uniform, then turned around and walked out. Looking at Carl's performance, Wang Feng nodded. This little guy was only 16 or 17 years old, but he had a pretty good personality. The restaurant manager also came directly to Wang Feng and others' table at this time, looked at Wang Feng and said, "I'm sorry. Please get out." In fact, at this time, Wang Feng and the others had already finished eating, and all the dishes on the table had been wiped out by them. "But the truth is that I stay here all the time because I want to watch the excitement." "Oh? Is this how your hotel treats guests?" Wang Feng looked at the restaurant manager with a half smile and said, "Humph. If we don't charge your money, you are no longer our guests. Now, please get out," the restaurant manager said with a cold face. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 788. Really? That means we don't have to pay the bill. Wang Feng asked in surprise. Looking at Wang Feng's expression, the restaurant manager was even more disgusted. How could such a worthless country bumpkin have the guts to eat in such a high-end restaurant? Yes. I've invited your table, so please get out immediately. The restaurant manager said angrily. Haha. Thank you then. Wang Feng stood up immediately, and when the other three saw this situation, they also stood up. They say the Phelan people are romantic, but I think they are quite generous. Wang Feng walked out and said to himself. At this time, the blonde and blue-eyed young man who came in before stood up and stopped in front of Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu. Two beautiful ladies, I wonder if I have the honor to invite you two to dinner. I can guarantee that if these two beauties come to have dinner with me, no one will kick them out. Having said this, the young man looked at Wang Feng and Su Mo with a hint of contempt. Get out of the way. Don't block the road. Zhang Xiu was the first to speak. A trace of anger flashed in the young man's eyes, but it dissipated immediately and continued to say with a smile. My name is Nita Yed, and I am the first heir of the Nita family. I just want to get to know the two ladies. You are the lady. Your whole family is a lady. Zhang Xiu was furious. Get out of my way. Otherwise I won't be polite. But Wang Feng and Lu Wanting laughed at the same time. Nidade. Your uncles. Was this deceptive name given by that blind father? How much does this guy hate his elder brother? The young man was shocked. The Nita family was a famous family in the entire home planet, and its wealth could not be described as rich as any other country. Normally, under this situation, there is no need for him to reveal his identity. As long as he throws out his name, he will be successful. As for the guys in front of them, none of them had any reaction when they heard the name of their family. Two guys even seemed to think their names were funny. However, Nidade immediately realized that these people, who were obviously country bumpkins, probably didn't know the strength of their family at all. I guess the speedboat they drove before was also rented, right? Nidade looked at the noble lady from before and immediately became aware of her plan. Madam. For my sake, you don't have to drive these people out, right? Since they don't know their own identity, just use other people's performance to prove it. He also saw the way Zhang Xiu and Lu Wanting were eating just now. Although he frowned a little, it was obvious that it was the first time for these people to come to such a high-end place. For a person like this, once he knows his identity, he will probably immediately abandon his boyfriend and throw himself into his arms. As for the ugly appearance, what's the point? If you have a good figure and a gorgeous appearance, what great betting is this? Who cares about how a beautiful woman eats? Especially when in bed. After hearing Nita Yed's words, Mrs. Charlie's expression changed. Although her wealthy family was considered very wealthy, compared with the Nita family, they were not even ants. Of course she didn't dare to offend this Nidade. Okay. Mr. Nita, since you have spoken, let these two little bitches take advantage of you. Hearing the lady's words, Nidade smiled again and looked at Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu. He felt that his gentle words made the arrogant woman shrink back, which should be able to prove his identity a little bit. However, what surprised him was that Wang Feng and the other four people actually ignored him, but all looked at the noble lady. What did you just say? Wang Feng asked solemnly. TCH. What's wrong? Isn't it? A few country bumpkins still have money to eat in such a high-end restaurant. How do they get the money? Do you still have to ask? The lady said arrogantly. Since you have done that, don't be afraid of what others will say. Very good. Wang Feng narrowed his eyes. However, at this moment, the restaurant manager suddenly let out a scream, and then quickly shouted. Security! Stop them! Can't let them go. After Wang Feng and the others prepared to leave, the restaurant manager sneered in his heart, and then prepared to go to the lady to ask for credit. However, when his eyes accidentally glanced at Wang Feng's desktop, he shuddered. Although Wang Feng and his friends had all eaten their dishes cleanly, it was impossible to see what they were eating. But there were 4 plates among them, and the restaurant manager looked very familiar. That was the plate used to hold their hotel's most expensive dish, volcanic caviar. Volcanic caviar is made from the eggs of a fish that lives in magma. Because this fish is not afraid of high temperatures, it lives in the lava beneath the volcano. The scarcity of the quantity and the difficulty of collecting it have resulted in the sky-high price of this caviar. There are only 5 restaurants on the entire home planet that can sell this kind of caviar. And it only exists this month of the year, because volcano fish only lay eggs in this month. 4 servings of volcanic caviar? Their hotel only has 5 servings a year, and this table actually ordered 4? Moreover, he actually said that their order was free. Not to mention 4 servings, even 1 serving would cost him a fortune. Originally, he just thought that these bumpkins just wanted to have a meal here, take a few photos and show off, and they would definitely not order any expensive dishes. In this way, in order to please MRS Charlie, he could directly use his free order authority to waive the cost of this table. But now, let alone other things, even this caviar, he has no right to waive the bill, right? If Wang Feng and his friends ran away, his life would be over. So, the restaurant manager hurriedly called for people, and he couldn't let Wang Feng and his friends leave no matter what. Moreover, the restaurant manager now has another idea in his mind, that is, these guys should not have looked at the price when they ordered the dishes just now, right? Especially Wang Feng and his friends, they just casually found some clothes from their home planet and wore them out, so naturally they didn't look like rich people. Hearing the restaurant manager's shout, the restaurant's security guards all ran over and surrounded Wang Feng and the others. Seeing this, Wang Feng glanced at the noble lady, then retracted his gaze. Anyway, she couldn't run away, so let's solve the problem one by one. Great. You dare to come here to eat a free meal? Wait. I will make you pay for it. The restaurant manager ran up at this time, pointed at Wang Feng and the others, and then hurriedly shouted to the cashier. Bring the bill for their table, and call the police immediately, saying that someone here is eating a free meal. And, go and catch Carl. That Nidade was about to speak, but after hearing the restaurant manager say to call the police, his eyes turned, and then he returned to his seat. After that, he picked up the phone and said something to it. Wang Feng and the others looked at the restaurant manager coldly, and then Wang Feng said, "Didn't you just say that you would not charge us? So many people heard it, why are you saying that we are here to dine for free? You can take back what you said, it seems that the people of Phelan are just like this." The restaurant manager blushed and turned pale, but he dared not admit what he said just now. Shut up. I can tell from what you are wearing that you are just a few poor guys. How can you afford to eat volcanic caviar? You must have made up your mind not to pay. I have seen a lot of people like you. Humph. What will you do when the police come? Ha ha ha. 2 bitches, dare to eat volcanic caviar? It's really funny. MRS Charlie also joined in at this time, she laughed. Have you grown that kind of noble belly? Aren't you afraid that you can't give birth to a son after eating it? Oh. That's right. You are bitches, you can't give birth to a son. You. Lu Wanting was furious. She was originally guilty because she had never been able to give birth to a child for Wang Feng. Now MRS Charlie's words just hit her sore spot. However, Wang Feng stopped Lu Wanting and said calmly. Wait a minute. Humph. You are smart. But it's too late. MRS Charlie said coldly. You will be arrested by the police soon. At that time, I will let you know what it means to live a life worse than death. I'm not afraid to tell you that my brother is the warden of the prison. After you are locked up, I will take care of him and let him lock you two bitches in the men's cell. Ha ha ha. Those guys who are uncomfortable will definitely satisfy you when they see you. By then, you will spend the night all the time, but don't forget to thank me. Ha ha ha. A trace of murderous intent flashed in Wang Feng's eyes. He didn't expect that Mrs. Charlie was so cruel. He originally planned to punish her slightly, but now it seems. If you seek death, God will not let you go. You don't have to wait until then. I will thank you in a while. Wang Feng looked at Mrs. Charlie and said in a grim tone. Mrs. Charlie looked at Wang Feng's eyes and suddenly shuddered. She seemed to smell the breath of death from those eyes. The police from Phelan were very fast. Just as they said these words, a team of fully armed police walked into the restaurant. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 789. Seeing this team of police officers arriving, the restaurant manager rushed to greet them. Officer Ford, these 4 people are having a king's meal in our restaurant. The leader of this police team is a man in his 40s, who is very fat and looks chubby. Wang Feng was very suspicious. If this guy encountered a thief, he might not be able to catch up with him, right? Maybe he could lie down on the ground and roll, that might be a lot faster. Huh? Come here to eat the king's meal? You are really brave. The police officer named Ford waved his hand and shouted. Take them all back. Mr. Police Officer. When you got here, you didn't investigate anything, and just based on this guy's words, you decided that we were eating the king's meal. He said coldly. Is this how the police in Phelan do things? You don't need to tell me what I'm going to do. Take them all away from me. If anyone dares to resist, just let him know how powerful we are. Ford roared loudly. Mr. Police Officer, I repeat for the last time, I'm not here to have a meal, but the manager himself said that we don't need to spend money, as long as we leave. Wang Feng sighed and said again. You. How can you poor people afford volcanic caviar? Dream on. The restaurant manager jumped out immediately. Okay. You said you are not eating the king's meal, then you pay the bill. Let me see what you used to pay. Waiter. Come here and pay them. After saying that, the restaurant manager shouted to the cashier. At this time, several restaurant security guards came back grabbing the waiter Carl who had just left. That's right. Officer Ford, and this guy, these bumpkins ordered 4 portions of volcano caviar, and he actually brought it to them without asking. He must have colluded with them. We will arrest him soon. Lock him up with them. The stubborn Carl had offended the restaurant manager before because of his personality, so the restaurant manager took revenge this time and directly put the shit basin on Carl's head. When Carl heard what the restaurant manager said, he just stared at the restaurant manager angrily, but did not make any excuse. Carl, who has been living here, obviously knows that no matter how he defends, it is useless, so he simply doesn't speak. At this time, a blonde girl also wearing a waiter uniform walked forward with her waist twisted, holding a bill and a credit card machine in her hands. After the restaurant manager looked at the bill, he suddenly laughed wildly. Ha 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 ha. In addition to volcanic caviar, you actually ordered deep-sea oysters, Long Island whale shrimp, and Snow Mountain cordyceps. He read out the names of more than 10 dishes in one breath, and even the other diners in the restaurant couldn't help but gasp when they heard the menu. If what the restaurant manager said is true, then Wang Feng and the others have eaten up the entire fortune of an ordinary rich man. Maybe it's because the big hotel they are in is so famous that no one dares to default here, so all the dishes Wang Feng and the others ordered were served. Come on. You pay. Let me see what you used to pay for this meal. The restaurant manager shouted to Wang Feng while shaking the bill. Wang Feng took out a card directly from his pocket and handed it to the blonde. The blonde didn't expect that Wang Feng would actually take out his card to pay the bill, and couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. But she immediately took the card with a professional smile, and then gently pulled it on the card machine. Dip. The payment was successful, thank you for your patronage. The electronically synthesized sound coming from the card machine made everyone present except Wang Feng and the four of them stunned. They didn't expect that a card that this guy in inconspicuous clothing took out at random actually contained such a large amount of money. Nidade also frowned at this time, but he recalled carefully and confirmed that he definitely did not know these people. As the richest family in the world, the Nida family is usually very cautious and generally does not provoke those who may cause trouble to them. Therefore, Nidade was already familiar with the information about these people. Therefore, Nidade quickly relaxed his expression. Since he didn't know them, it meant that these guys were probably just nouveau riche. Judging from the way they ate before, it was very consistent with their identities. Of course, the Nida family will not be afraid of such a guy with no background. However, the restaurant manager has stopped clamoring. A guy who can afford to pay so much money is definitely not something that a small restaurant manager like him can afford to offend. Well, did you see it? This is a misunderstanding. I don't want to eat the king's meal. At this time, Officer Ford spoke first. He said to the restaurant manager, "Okay. Go down. Be careful next time and don't call the police. Do you understand?" "Yes, yes. I know." The restaurant manager immediately wanted to leave. "Wait. Mr. Police Officer. Now we should be able to prove that we are guests here for dinner, right?" Wang Feng suddenly said. "This restaurant manager slandered us casually, are you just going to let it go? Our reputation has been damaged, don't you care?" "Reputation? What reputation? A few thieves, still want honor." Ford suddenly sneered and said. "Come here. I suspect they are the thieves who stole the huge amount of money of the Nida family, take them back for interrogation." Just now, Ford actually backed down, because he also knew that it was better not to provoke people who could have so much money. Although it is said that the people do not fight with the officials, the rich always have some privileges. Money may not help you solve all problems, but money can help you solve all enemies. If you offend these guys, they will directly pay for killers, then your life will be in danger. However, Nidade has seen Ford's thoughts, so he secretly made a gesture to Ford. Because he is behind Wang Feng and others, he is not afraid of them seeing it. As for other people, of course they don't have the courage to say it if they see it. After receiving the signal from Nidade, Ford was confident again and was ready to capture Wang Feng and the others. What's wrong with being rich? Can you be richer than the Nida family? That's impossible. On the mother planet, no family can surpass the Nida family in terms of financial strength. Therefore, the choice question in front of Ford is quite easy to do. What? Thief. Do you have evidence? If so, please take it out. If not, we won't go with you. A trace of anger flashed in Wang Feng's eyes. Ford couldn't help but be a little speechless. The Nida family didn't say that they were stolen. Where did he get the evidence? He just said it casually. Subconsciously, Ford looked at Nidade, and Nidade took out a small book from his pocket and panicked at him. By the way, you are not from our Phelan. Take out your pass and have a look. As a police officer, I have the responsibility and obligation to check your pass. Officer Ford suddenly said righteously. Pass. Wang Feng was stunned, and then suddenly remembered that before he set off, Gauss Hixing had someone send him 4 purple books with their names and photos on them. That was the pass Ford mentioned. Although he didn't know how Gauss Hicksing got their photos, at least with this, he could avoid a lot of trouble. So Wang Feng just threw it into Xianyuan space and had forgotten about it. When Ford asked about it, Wang Feng remembered it. Pretending to reach into his pocket, he took out the 4 passes directly from Xianyuan space and handed them to Ford. Ford took the 4 passes, tore them to pieces without even looking at them, and then looked at Wang Feng with a grin and asked, "Are there any more?" Wang Feng was stunned, then he actually laughed, and then answered happily, "No more. What do you think we should do?" Seeing Wang Feng's expression, Zhang Xiu's eyes lit up, because those who were familiar with Wang Feng knew that Wang Feng was now completely enraged, so he didn't plan to play anymore. "What should we do? Without a pass, you entered another country privately. I suspect you are spies. Come on, take them all back for interrogation." With Ford's order, the police who came with him immediately surrounded them, ready to arrest Wang Feng and the others. Haha. They are actually used as spies. Which country is this? No wonder they are so rich. Ha ha ha. Seeing that Ford was finally ready to arrest people, MRS Charlie couldn't help but commit suicide again. "Officer Ford. I think that Carl is colluding with them. He is a traitor and a traitor to his country. He should be arrested and interrogated." The restaurant manager did not miss the opportunity to add insult to injury and pointed at Carl. Carl looked at the restaurant manager with murderous eyes and remained silent. Wang Feng and Su Mo and others looked at each other, and Su Mo asked softly, "Who will come?" Su Mo knew that he was going to take action, so he asked this question. There were only a few guys, and any one of them could take action. Wang Feng turned his head and found that Zhang Xiu was staring at him, with an eager look on his face, so he chuckled and said, "Xiu, come on. Doomsday Special Forces." Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 790. Zhang Xiu was overjoyed and quickly stepped forward to stand in front of them, looking quite like a heroine. "Officer Ford. Can you wait a moment?" Before the police officers approached Wang Feng and others, Nidade stood up and said to Ford politely. Ford pretended that it was at this moment that he noticed Nidade and said, "Ah. Is it Master Nida? Haha. Okay, okay. I'm not busy. Thanks." Nidade nodded towards Ford, and then came to Lu Wanting and Zhang Xiu again. "Two beautiful ladies, I think your boyfriend can no longer protect you. Espionage is a serious crime and you will stay in prison for the rest of your life. Besides, I think you also heard what MRS Charlie said just now. I believe that MRS Charlie has the ability to achieve what she said. Are the two ladies really willing to suffer that? As far as I know, there was a girl who was selling drinks. She accidentally bumped into MRS Charlie, and she called the police and got her arrested. It was also the same prison where her brother was. Although she was only sentenced to 1 week in prison, it is said that the girl died in prison on the 3rd day. As for the cause of death, I don't think I need to explain it to the two ladies, right?" After hearing Nidajeed's words, MRS Charlie's expression couldn't help but change. After all, such a thing cannot be brought to light, especially since there are police here. However, due to Nidajeed's status, MRS Richard did not dare to have an attack or even defend herself, so she could only stand aside silently. Nidade ignored MRS Charlie's reaction, but continued to look at Zhang Xiu and said, "Now I give you a chance to choose. And you can choose the fine clothes and food now." Crack. Zhang Xiu waved his hand and slapped Nidade directly, sending him flying away, and then said coldly, "I remember. I told you to get out of here just now. You don't have a long memory, do you? A good dog doesn't stand in the way, do you know that? It's delaying my business." Wang Feng had already said that Zhang Xiu was the one to do it this time, so this slap could be regarded as her opening remarks. Seeing Nidade being beaten, The few people who came with him quickly stood up and helped him up with all their hands. "Dare you hit me? It stinks." Nidade looked at Zhang Xiu fiercely and cursed. As he cursed, several teeth spurted out along with blood. Zhang Xiu did not use all his strength, otherwise, with the strength of Zhang Xiu's current level 6 creature, this slap could directly kill Nidade. Because of such a few people, Zhang Xiu felt that it might not be enough. If he kept this guy, he might be able to call more people to torture him. Seeing the blood and teeth on the ground, Nidade became furious. "You two wait. I'm going to take you back. If you are not dead yet, if I throw you into prison again, your end is already destined, you will definitely die. Ford. You take the two men away, and the women belong to me." Nidade yelled directly at Ford, dividing Wang Feng and the other 4 people. "Okay, Master Nida." Ford quickly nodded and bowed and said to Nidade. Then he looked at Wang Feng with an upright face and waved his fat hand. "Catch these 2 spies back to me." I have to say that Ford's change of attitude has really reached its peak. At the same time, Nidade also pointed at Zhang Xiu and Lu Wanting and said, "Catch these 2 stinky bitches back to me." At this time, Nidade had a ferocious look on his face, which was completely different from the polite look he had before. Nidade's men all swarmed forward, preparing to capture their targets. What surprised the others was that, seeing this scene, Wang Feng, Lu Wanting and Su Mo actually turned around and sat down at the table where they had been dining. They also picked up the teapot on the table, poured a cup of tea each, and started drinking tea. Bang 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 bang. Ah! Along with a series of dense sounds and screams, Nidade's guards and the police were all kicked back by Zhang Xiu. And Zhang Xiu used the power very cleverly, just enough to make them lie down on the table one after another. Wow! When the last person piled on top of the table was finally overwhelmed and fell apart. And those guys above naturally experienced a small catastrophe. The most unlucky person was of course the one at the bottom. Originally he just wanted to steal the credit, but unexpectedly the first one was kicked away, and then he was pushed to the bottom. After these 2 struggles, this guy no longer had the strength to scream. He rolled his eyes and lay on the ground, watching as he could only breathe out but not in. This scene immediately shocked everyone present. Ford even directly pulled out his gun and pointed it at Zhang Xiu. You dare to attack the police." Bang! What answered him was a flying kick from Zhang Xiu. Zhang Xiu is agile, and at such a close distance, the gun will not work at all. Just for a bastard like you. Zhang Xiu looked at the gun in his hand and said coldly, then, with one hand, he crushed the gun into scrap metal. You. I'll give you 10 minutes, you can call for reinforcements, and after 10 minutes, I will destroy your 5 limbs and turn you into a gourd, lying there for the rest of your life. After the warm-up just now, Zhang Xiu finally returned to her original character, looking at Nidade viciously and said, Five limbs." Wang Feng was stunned, then looked at Su Mo, his eyes full of sympathy. And Su Mo had already picked up the teacup in front of him when Zhang Xiu said that, and looked at the tea in it intently, as if there was a universe in it. Of course, he didn't see Wang Feng's eyes. "Humph. You wait," Nidade said fiercely, and then really picked up the phone and dialed. And on the other side, Officer Ford had also climbed up from the ground and was calling for reinforcements on the intercom. Zhang Xiu went straight back to Su Mo's side, sat down, snatched the cup of tea that Su Mo was still paying close attention to, and drank it all. Wang Feng shook his head and smiled, then took out his phone and called Gau's Hixing. "I'm in Korea in Phelan, this." After the call was connected, Wang Feng spoke to the inside, and suddenly froze halfway. He didn't remember the name of the hotel, so he turned his head and looked at Carl, who was still staring at everything in front of him, and asked, "Hello. Carl, right? Ah. Oh. Yes. Sir. Carl heard someone calling his name, and hurriedly turned back. Seeing that it was Wang Feng calling him, he nodded and agreed. What's the name of this hotel? Wang Feng asked with a smile. It's called the Emperor of the World. Sir. The Emperor of the World? This name is quite domineering. Wang Feng was stunned, and then curled his lips. You'd better tell the guy in charge of Phelan in this hotel called the Emperor of the World. Otherwise, I will not be responsible for any serious consequences. Understood. I'll contact him right away. Gauss Hicksing on the other side answered very straightforwardly without asking anything. In his opinion, no matter who is right or wrong, offending Wang Feng is just asking for death. Anyway, this is Phelan's business, so let their royal family handle it. It just so happens that the incident happened in their hotel. I'm afraid there are also shadows of their royal family members in it. Afterwards, Gauss Hicksing quickly made a phone call and started talking to the inside. After Wang Feng hung up the phone, he leaned back in his chair comfortably, muttering in his mouth. Emperor of the World. Haha. What a great name. Of course, Wang Feng didn't know that this Emperor of the World hotel was one of the best hotels on the mother planet, and the boss behind it was a member of the Phelan royal family. Otherwise, in a country with a royal family, calling it this name, what else would it be if it wasn't asking for death? Seeing Wang Feng calling, Zhang Xiu couldn't help but feel unhappy, and muttered. Boring. Let them play for a while longer. Forget it. If we make too much noise, it might affect our next trip. Wang Feng shook his head and said. We are here to have fun, not to cause trouble. It's obvious that they provoked us first. Zhang Xiu said unconvinced. Yes. Wang Feng nodded. That's why I let you have fun. But it's enough. If you don't have enough fun, go back to the room later, Su Mo will let you play as you like. Huh? Yes. Zhang Xiu's eyes lit up and looked at Su Mo. Crazy. I'm sitting here and didn't say anything, why did you come to me? Su Mo was shocked. Nonsense, do you want Xiu to play with me? Ugh. Wang Feng was sweating coldly. He just said, do you want Xiu to play with me, but he suddenly felt the murderous aura of Lu wanting next to him, so he quickly changed his words. At this time, a noisy sound came, and a group of strong men in suits rushed in. Obviously, the reinforcements of Nidade and Ford have arrived. Who did it? Them. Those 4 people. They are spies. Kill them quickly, no need to catch them alive. Ford gritted his teeth and pointed at Wang Feng and others. The matter has become serious, Ford dare not catch them alive, otherwise, if he goes back to ask, he might get into trouble too. Hearing Ford's words, he immediately raised his gun and pointed the gun at Wang Feng and others.